I'm able to work ahead a little bit, and I'm like, I like this. I know what I'm doing. I know what comes next.
Yeah. It's very similar to MATLAB in a way, but not completely, but there's some similarity. So I think it's helpful to know MATLAB a little. But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. And, I wanted to sort of front load, how front load like a coding in the beginning of the class so that you at least have some like framework for whenever we're going to be looking at code. So you have some idea what's happening, right? Like for instance, the stuff that you need to do to the data to be able to run that linear regression function, it has to be in a weird like array format, right? Do you remember that? Yeah, a little strange. I kind of understand how they're doing it and why they're doing it that way, but it is very different from other coding languages. Like for instance, in MATLAB, you don't have to do that. It's really strange, but anyway. But you need to be able to understand that so that if you wanted to put in data like you had to do in the last assignment, that you could, right? Okay. All right. Today the goal is to get the code that does the linear regression that we talked about in chapter 1. Do you remember? It was the linear regression for the happiness versus GDP. Remember that? That's what they did in chapter 1 at the end. And they actually gave you the code for that. So we are going to load up that code and then we're going to modify it together, right? We'll modify it together to get it to work. Okay. Yeah, and Hannah says it was intimidating at first, but yeah, it's a lot of fun once you get into it. And I know that I was just talking to Maggie about this earlier today. I know it can be like, when you get an error and you're like, what could that be? I remember when I first started coding, it just seemed like there was some weird, no, hold on a second. What?
So, are you doing order today?
Can we not talk about that right
I
now?
know.
I'm sorry. 15-year-old.
Last night, I just realized
okay.
last night I had my last ice cream.
Okay, honey.
Maybe
Yeah, that's not important for you to talk about. Okay. Goodbye.
Okay.
Thank you. It's important because he needs ice cream. Come on, that's,
I understand. That's very important.
That's
okay, but that is very important.
Very important.
Wait, it depends on what kind of flavor.
Yes, he prefers like ice cream bars. Like he had a strawberry one. I'm not sure it was like strawberry and vanilla together.
Is that the strawberry shortcake one where it
yes,
has like a little? That is actually very good.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, I didn't taste it, but he says they're fantastic. So, yes, very important, very important. Anyway, so yeah, I was talking to Maggie. I remember when my code would not run. There was some error. It just seems like what could it be? It could be anything in the whole universe that's wrong. But what I found out through years of debugging code, right? That's what happened. That's what you say when you're fixing an error, right? Is that almost 95% of the time I would say it's a typo. And if you look at the video that I was, writing code for you in the last video, like I made a bunch of errors. I think all of them were typos, right? So in other words, you type the word linear wrong, or you type, the word plot wrong, and so just remember that most of the time it's a very trivial error. And the Google Colab will show you remember the stuff. I'm sure you've all had an error happen while you were trying to code this last week or the week before. It tells you some stuff right underneath the error, and it looks all like crazy. But if you look at that, it actually gives you a hint as to what's wrong. So if you misspell something, it'll sometimes say unknown function or unknown method, and that's a clue to look back at it and make sure you spelled it right. Right? Because it can't understand that you meant plot when you say PLT or POLTT, right? It doesn't know. It doesn't correct for you. Some languages actually help you a little bit, like MATLAB. Mitchell, if you may have noticed that if you type something wrong in MATLAB, it actually suggests the right thing to you. It knows like, hey, he meant plot when he said PLOTT, right? but it's not going to just work. So it'll tell you something about what's wrong, right? And most of the time, it'll tell you if you have multiple lines, it'll definitely tell you which line it thinks is wrong, right? So don't be scared of that information. It's actually quite useful when it throws that error, makes those red lines under things, and shows you all that information. It's actually quite useful to look through that and see if you can figure it out. Like, what is it that I did wrong, right? So don't be scared. Like, it is intimidating, and I do remember very clearly how intimidated I was. And debugging code is something. It's a little bit of an art because it's experience based. It's very difficult to teach someone how to do it because you have to have experience with the language. Like, pretty much, I can debug pretty much any MATLAB code. Like, you give me an error, I can find it, right? Because I know MATLAB really, really well. So it's experience, right? So don't get upset if you just like, oh, I'm so bad at debugging, I can't find stuff. That's just experience. It's just going to take time. It's really not something that someone can teach you. Besides telling you things like, most of the time it's a typo, So yeah, so just be aware that don't be down on yourself, and it's very normal to just have code just like, oh, I don't know why it's not working, and then you figure it out, and it's usually something small, right? Okay. All right, so that's the goal for today. Now remember that in one of the first week or second week, I had you download from GitHub all of the code that goes with your book, right? Okay. And we want to go and load up, and I think we even might have loaded up already the very first piece of code into Google Colab. If you don't remember, let's look at that again. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Everybody get ready because you need to make sure you know where that code is. So you downloaded it somewhere. I don't know, all of you probably downloaded it somewhere different. So you're going to have to go look for it. So I'll give you a second to go look for the code. Make sure you have it somewhere.
This was again for chapter 1, correct? So like the machine learning landscape.
Yeah, the machine learning landscape.
Awesome.
So when you downloaded the code, it downloaded everything for the whole book, by the way, into a directory. But yeah, but the one we're going to load up is the one that's 01 underscore the machine learning landscape. Yeah, that's the one we're going to load.
You should open that on Google Colab.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And let me share my screen, and I will. We can all follow along.
Oh my gosh, I found it.
You
I
found
wasn't
it.
expecting to find it. I'm not
Is that a
gonna lie.
miracle? Machine learning miracle. Let me know when everyone just has the code up on Google Colab.
I've got it up.
Great. Mitchell and Hannah, you're just going to get it up in a second here, right? Also, make sure that you can access the directory that has all of the code and the data, because that was
What do
all
you mean?
downloaded into one thing, right?
Yeah, what do you mean exactly about like get the code up? Because I found.
So
the
you want to
file.
go to Google Colab and say Open Notebook, and then you can like search for the notebook, the one that says 01, the machine learning landscape.
Do we have to like do import, or do we just?
No, you can just like, oh great, Hannah's got it. So no, you can just go. So look at my screen. I'm going to go to Google Colab. I still just Google it, which is kind of dumb, but whatever. Okay. And then I'm going to upload notebook. And I can remember we were dragging and dropping last time, but you can also browse. So I'm going to browse to where my code is, which is in my machine learning here, right? So I have it in this little folder, right? And then I just double click or click on that and open. And there it is. Yeah?
You got this,
Yeah.
Mitchell.
I think I got it. I think I
You
got
got
it.
it.
Yeah. Okay. It looks the same as yours. Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Yay, yay. Okay. Now, does everybody know, like, if you look at my folder here for machine learning, this folder is where the code is, right? And in that folder are some subfolders that have the data. We're going to need that. So right here, see data sets, and then our life satisfaction data is here. So make sure you have
I don't
that
think
too.
it's sharing that because
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not sharing that. You're right. Okay, give me a second. You're gonna see my searching for kitchen sink faucets in a second. I'm gonna share my whole desktop. Okay. So let's see. Where's my? Here we go. Okay, so here's my machine learning area, and then I have the code, this Hansen ML2 master thing, right? That we all downloaded from GitHub, and inside there is all the code, and then a datasets folder, and inside there is the life satisfaction data. Okay, so I want to make sure you guys all have that somewhere. When you downloaded the whole thing from GitHub, it was this entire folder, right? We did that like 2 weeks in, I think.
It's the one that says life sat,
Yep.
correct?
Life sat, yep. So if I go open again here.
Okay.
Yeah, data
Got
set,
it.
life sat. Yeah, cool.
Do you want us to open the Excel files
No,
or
you don't need to. We're going to be loading them up into Google Google Drive basically, but via via code. What we're going to do is do it with code. Mitchell, how are you doing? You find that? Okay, Maggie, you good?
Right now.
What was
Like
that?
I found it and everything.
You found it? You're good.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay. All right, so let me explain. I'm going to go back to this screen, and I'm going to actually stop sharing, just share this because it makes it a little bigger for you. So I'm going to share and just share the code screen. Okay, now the code that you just uploaded, the one I just uploaded here, there's some issues with it. So when I tried to run this, there's some problems, and that has to do with the uploading of the data itself. So they are downloading the data from GitHub, and that just did not seem to work for me. So I did a workaround that we're going to use that I think is kind of more universally useful anyway, right? Because we want to be able to use any data we want to use, not just stuff that you can download from GitHub from the book, right? So what I'm going to do is show you that. So I'm going to go back to my version, and we're going to go through this whole thing at first, kind of just going to we're just going to kind of go through. So this is my version. So you can see here, I named it a different thing. You might want to do that too, right? So if you want, you can go to the original code that you have opened, and you can say File, and you can say Save a Copy in Drive. When you do that, it'll make a copy and open it up for you, and then you can name it something else. It's kind of a good thing to do because you're not altering anything, and you have the old code to fall back on. So it's kind of always a good idea. Not that it's not going to change it on your disk, right? So the code on your disk is going to stay. Nothing's going to alter that because you're only altering things in Drive. But I like to begin with a copy. That's what I like to do. So if you could do that, you can say save a copy in Drive. Then it's going to save a new copy, and then you can go up here and alter the name and just say, I don't know, edit or altered or something. Everybody do that and let me know if you're done.
Got it done.
Great.
Mine still says it's creating a copy.
Yeah, it takes a little bit.
I spoke too soon. It just finished.
Great. Just rename it something.
And just
I
to
got
clarify,
one.
this copy is the one that we're going to be working
That's
with
right.
today.
Yep. Yeah, you saw my faucet is on sale. Yeah. Okay. Maggie, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Perfect. Okay. All right, I'm going to go back to my version. All right. So let's go through it line by line, right? So of course, the first thing it's doing is importing some things that it needs, right? And sys, it means it's and you can hold your mouse over and see. This, provides, some access to things like, the file path to files on your computer, right? So all kinds of little things that you might need to access stuff locally on the computer. Okay. We don't actually, I don't think, use this because this is what they use to import stuff. I don't know if we're not really using that. But anyway, we'll just leave it. And it says, make sure the version is greater than 3 or, greater than or equal to 3 and 5. I don't know what that really does, but it doesn't matter. Here's our sklearn, right? And again, checking that the version is greater than 0.2. Right? So they're just making sure that the version is right. That's fine, and the assert keyword, I'm not exactly sure what that does, but most likely that would throw an error if it wasn't true that the sklearn version was the right version. It would probably throw an error and say, hey, you said to make sure it's greater than 0.2. It's not, right? Okay. And then here is that function we talked about a little bit last time, just showing that this is a actual function that they built so that they could call it, and it does a bunch of things to the data. We don't really need to know exactly what it does. If you're really interested in it, you can try to pick apart and see what it does. But it's basically processing the data into something that can be used for the linear regression. Okay. It's not doing anything yet because it's just a definition. That's what definition means here. Okay, so this says, hey, I am making this definition. I'm going to use it later. And the function is called prepare country stats. And it takes as input this data and this data, right? The OECD, life index, whatever this BLI they're saying. I'm not sure why they call it BLI, but it's a life satisfaction and stuff. And then the GDP per capita, right? That's what it takes in. But this is just a definition to be called later. Okay. This is importing another library, and it's the OS library, which is, functions like, like I said, it's very similar to the system one. It's, path and the name of things, and you don't really need to know too much about it, but it's a big library of stuff that sometimes you need if you're dealing with files. Okay. All right, now here is what you need. If you see, let's go back. I'm going to go back to the original version because this is my altered version.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So it imports stuff at the beginning, but then after it does the definition, it imports something else. Does the order of the import matter?
Which one are you talking about? You talking about this one?
Yeah, the one right after the definition, like the import OS.
Oh yeah, it's not actually importing anything.
Oh.
Remember, import is like, it's saying this keyword imports libraries of thing, and there's a library called OS for operating system.
Gotcha.
Right, and it's got all kinds of methods. Like, for instance, here's a path that's saying the data path is os.path.join, which will make a path that says datasets / lifeset / right. So we won't need this. Actually, I just left it in their code. We don't actually need it because they do a different way of importing the data itself than we're going to do.
Okay, like I was just generally like in one of the videos you said, like if it's importing something or like it's something big and major, you put it at the very top so you have it all organized.
Yeah.
Like, is there certain examples where you would have to import something after something else?
No, this is a total preference. If it were me writing this code originally, I would have imported everything at the top up here, right? It's just a preference. So you can see that they have imported OS right before they're going to use OS for the first time. Of course, you have to do that, right? You have to import before you use it.
Right.
But you do not have to import it later than anything else, right? So if it were me writing this code, right, I would import everything at the top. I would import OS, NumPy, sklearn, which they do already, matplotlib. I would import everything I was going to use at the very top.
Gotcha.
That's just my preference, right? But you can see they don't really do that. They like to import as they go.
Yeah.
So and again here I just put it here, but I could have imported here because I put I'm importing stuff here that I need to upload the files. Okay, so let me explain. So when they are uploading their data, let's go back to the original. So can I go back to the original, guys? Yeah. Maybe it'd be helpful. I wonder. You can tell me if it's too small. Let me try to share the whole desktop, and I can have the two things side by side. So let me try that. If it's too small, we'll have to go back to what I was doing before. So let me try here. Okay, Zoom, go away. Let's go that away. All right, and our first thing here. Yeah. Okay. All right, is everything too small? Are you okay? Mitchell's like, I think it's too small.
It's a little too small.
It looks
for
too
my
small
liking.
to me.
I got you. Okay, so we'll go back the other way. We'll just see if we can toggle back and forth. Sorry, not perfect, huh? Okay, so let's go back to the original, and I'm gonna just put another Google Colab thing in here. Oh. Just grabbing it again, it's just easiest to grab it again. Okay. All right, so this is the original version, and let's go down and see what they're doing. So when they download, right, they say download the data, they're importing a library for URLs, right, for websites, and they're downloading it directly from their GitHub, right? Remember, GitHub was that code repository. They're downloading it from that data set, the datasets lifesat directory, remember? And I didn't find this worked very well. And also, like I said before, I want you to be able to upload code from your computer, like sitting on your computer, you download it from somewhere, or you make up your own data, or whatever it is. I want you to be able to download it from your computer, right? So from files on your computer, not from some website. And here, this is their GitHub website, right? They don't have every piece of data known to mankind up there. So it just doesn't seem useful to use that. So I'm changing the code to use something much more useful for everybody, I think, which is downloading it which is being able to get at the data if it's on your computer. All right, now what does it do here? This here, down here is where we are. So I'm actually using a method from Google Colab itself, okay, that allows files to be uploaded into Google Drive. Now, they're not going to show up in Google Drive like the normal files would show up in Google Drive if you upload something. They're kind of internal to Google Colab, but does that make any sense? It's like they're uploaded to Google Colab's cloud, and then Google Colab can grab data just as if you had uploaded it from somewhere else, right? So that's what's happening here. And so I want you to just type this stuff here.
I don't think it's sharing.
Oh, what? Oh my God.
Yeah, I was about to say, what stuff?
Okay. Let's see. Let's see if this is the right one. Yeah, this should be the right one, yeah? Okay. So can you see right here, number 5? Number 5 there? Yeah?
Yeah, it's new. Yeah, it's new.
Okay.
It's the
Right here.
corrected version. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, I want you to type that in. So what it's doing is it's actually using some methods that Google Colab wrote, that Google wrote, to import files for use by Google Colab. So
Are we on the copy or the original?
You want to put it on your copy.
And what are we supposed to do?
Put in this right here, this number 5. See the code block number 5?
Mm-hmm.
Or type that stuff in.
Okay. Wait, where exactly do we type it in?
And we're having to insert another code block.
Right, yeah, like right here. See, number 4 is import
Got it.
OS. Yeah, right below that. You can push plus code and then do a little code block for that.
Okay.
Are those parentheses or brackets beside upload? And then,
Parentheses. Because remember, it's a method, so that'll always be parentheses.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So don't push run yet. Just do all that because we actually have to run this stuff. We should probably run this stuff at the top before we run this. So we'll do that in a sec. When everybody's typed all this in.
So do we,
I'm all typed in now.
Excellent.
yeah, I'm all typed in. Do you want us to delete that portion where it says download the data from the website?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes, please. Yes, please. Delete that code block. There's a little trash icon over here that you can do that. Right? Little trash. Can you see the trash?
Where is that one?
That is.
I know where the trash is. I'm talking about, what is Mitch talking about?
Yeah, so he's talking about the part that says it's in the original code. Wow, where's the numbers? Why are there no numbers on this code? Okay, do you see in the original code, there's a thing that says import OS, right? Then after that, the matplotlib code block.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, the download the data code block. So you're going to delete that download the data code block from your version using the little trash can.
I don't see that on mine.
Yeah, okay, I see it.
So where are you looking?
Maggie,
Yeah.
oh, sorry.
Here, actually, I have this version loaded up here too. Here we go. So here's the original version.
Mm-hmm.
So remember, there's that import OS, then there's the matplotlib. It's this one you want to delete. With the little, trash cans, where the trash can goes. There we go. You have to click on it to get the trash can. Yeah?
Oh yeah, I see that. So delete that whole
Just
thing.
delete that whole
Maggie,
thing.
I'm looking at it. Yeah, I'm looking at by the comments. Yeah. I was just gonna say, Maggie, it's the one under the to plot pretty figures directly with Jupyter.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
Great. Delete that. Great. Thanks for that, because I forgot that was in there because I deleted it already. Okay. Everybody typed in this and deleted that code block?
Yes.
Great. Now let's go back to the top and let's just run each cell. So first we'll run the Python cell, and then the import sklearn cell, and then the define prepare country stats cell, and then the import OS cell. Some of this stuff we actually don't need anymore, but I'm not going to delete it. Okay, we're everybody ready to run the upload file, the one we just put in? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so when I run it, it's going to say browse down here. And it's going to look like it's still running because it's waiting for you, right? To browse. So I'm going to browse over. You can't see what happens, I don't think. I don't know if you can see my file thing, but it's going to open a Finder.
File. Is that something different or?
What?
Mine says choose files.
Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And then I'm going to navigate to my data. Can you see my Finder window when it pops up or no?
Yeah.
Oh, good. And I'm going to go to data sets. I'm going to go LifeSat. Yeah. And I'm going to choose both of them at the same time. GDP per capita and OECD BLI. Life index, right? This is the life satisfaction index. I don't know why it's called BLI, but okay. Yeah. And I'm going to say open. And then this thing is going to sit there and load it up. It takes a little time. And now both of these are loaded up.
Your computer is fast, Dr. Shank. Mine's 0% done.
Oh no.
Okay.
It could be internet too, because remember it's uploading it to the cloud, right? So it actually has to use the internet to put it up.
I think mine just got the OECD, but I got
Click on both?
Yeah, I clicked on both of them.
Huh. Try it again.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do 2 at a time. So should I just hit the one and then click browse again and then do the other one?
That's a
Let me
good
do that.
question. I'm not sure it uploads both of them if you do it one after. I think you'd have to do it again. I'm really not sure. This is a really interesting
Oh,
question. Yeah.
I think I got it.
Okay, good.
So,
Oh, yeah, yeah, mine caught up. This is 2 files now.
Oh,
Mine
good.
uploaded both.
You're uploaded 100%, both of you, everybody?
Yeah.
yes.
Yay.
Weird. For some
Okay.
reason, I just did the first one once. I don't know. It's weird.
Right. Yeah.
My second one, the OECD percent.
The what?
The OECD file is okay. Well, it said it was at 51, but now it's at 100, so we're good to go.
Yay. Okay, great. Now notice that every single time you run this code, you have to upload the files. That's the downside of this. And so there's probably better ways to do this that we'll get to at some point. Okay. But you'd have to, click on the files and stuff, which is not optimal. So when you're really writing code, what you'd like is something that kind of just uploads the data itself without you having to choose the data. Okay. But never mind that. This will work for now. Okay. First step. All right, let's keep going. We're going to keep looking at this code. So the next part should be, this might be above yours or below, right? The matplotlib, right? Because you might have put this in right under this. That's fine, right? But I put it below it. So this is just saying import matplotlib as MPL, right? Remember we did that before in a tutorial. And it's just setting some it's setting the font size for the axes. That means like, all the numbers on the axes and the X ticks and the Y ticks, which means like the numbers that are put on the axes themselves, right? It's just saying, please make those like a 12-point or a 14-point font. So you can change those. It's nice to set it up like that just because like everything will be those size. You don't have to change individual graphs. Okay.
Can you change the colors of like the points and stuff like in MATLAB?
You 100% can.
Ooh.
And I'm going to show you that. Yeah. Okay. So matplotlib, and it's importing this again so let me explain. So matplotlib is the parent library, and then there's sub-libraries, right? Or I call them libraries. So sub-libraries like pyplot. So matplotlib.pyplot is PLT now. So I don't have to type pyplot. I tend to actually type pyplot, but you don't have to. Anyway. And importing NumPy. And pandas is another library. I'm not sure we actually use this in here, but maybe we do. We do right here. That can read stuff like the file. So in other words, we uploaded the file here, right? So it's in the cloud somewhere. With this notebook can have access to it anytime it wants by just saying, here's the name of the file, go grab stuff out of it. So this pandas is another library that does things like read CSV files, right? So for instance, pd.readcsv will read the data that's in this particular CSV that we already uploaded. And here's another one. It's reading the GDP capita from the GDP capita CSV. Yeah. And it's saying, hey, put some commas in for whenever there's 1,000, right? So it's formatting it a little bit. You don't need to know all the details, but this pandas library is used to read CSV files that we already uploaded, right? Because the computer still has to read them. So even though they're uploaded sitting there, the computer can't read them like you and I can. Now we could open it and just be like, yeah, there's all the data, right? And we could look at the data and know all the numbers, but the computer can't. You have to tell it some code to make it be able to read it into the code to be useful. So if you wanted to type this out, you would see a bunch of numbers, right? That comes from the CSV file. Okay. All right. Like I did here, I printed it out just for fun and I commented that out because I didn't want to keep it. And then what does it do? Well, it uses that definition, that subroutine, so it's called subroutine up here, this def, which does a bunch of stuff to the data. We don't really care too much about what it does, but that's what it does here. It's saying, hey, I I need you to do basically process the data, which we just read in here and here, and do all the processing that I told you to do and store it in this thing called a data frame. So country stats is actually a special Python type of holder for data. So we saw like lists are holders for data, right? Arrays are holders for data, meaning like it's a place to put your data, right? Stores your data for you. Of course, variables like a variable X that just says, or I don't know, a variable like R equals 2, that's holding the number 2 for you, right? But we saw more complex ones like lists and arrays that carry lots of numbers, right? A data frame is even more sophisticated than that. It's a type of holder that can do lots of things. It has methods attached to it. It has meaning like lots of little widgets that you can use. Arrays do too, as we saw, right? Remember that? Like we had, remember strings and how strings had their own little methods, like how it makes something lowercase or uppercase, right? So similar thing, a data frame has a lot of different methods, and it's also capable of storing lots of different data at the same time. So not just number data, but number data and string data. So all kinds of stuff. It's almost like a little database. So that's what this code up here that prepares the country stats. It makes a data frame called full country stats. And here we're just calling it country stats. It doesn't have to be called full country stats, right? So here calling it country stats is the output of prepare country stats. Is that sort of clear? Okay. All right, so it's doing some stuff, preparing it. And then here, this NP, remember this is NumPy. This C here is a concatenating, that C underscore is a concatenating function, and it just concatenates stuff. You don't even need to know that, right? It's just making our X and Y. And if you want to know what that looks like, you can do things like print country stats. So I'm going to go up here, and I'm just going to run number 6. If you probably already run this, because I think your load file thing was underneath this. So if you didn't run it, I think you probably should run it now. Okay. All right, and we're going to run this whole thing once we get through some of this. So let's actually print country stats. That's what I'm going to do here. So I want you to go and find where this is in your code. It's going to look a little different because I did things like print GDP capita and stuff here. Okay, so right under the X and Y definitions, put print country stats. Okay, there's a lot of other stuff here. Don't worry about it. It's going to look a little different for you. And then let's run this part. Okay. Okay. Now, what you should see is
I got an
this.
error.
Okay, tell me.
It says hashtag load data OECD underscore BLI equals PD dot read CSV data path plus.
Yeah, that happened to me as well.
All right, let me let you share a screen and let's see if we can fix this.
Me too.
Oh boy, that's not good. All right, let me allow share screen. Give me a second. Mitchell, why don't you share and let's take a look. Okay, let me see. Okay, go up a little. Okay, it uploaded. Right.
That's the same one that I got too.
Yeah. Oh, I know what it is. I'm sorry. I altered this a long time ago, so I've forgotten what I had to do. Okay, let me.
You stop share.
No, keep it sharing. Okay. Let me see. I wonder how to do this. I wish we could both share at the same time.
Does it have to do with the fact that the OECD has a 1 in the? Oh.
Okay, I think I can share at the same time. Let's see.
Oh,
Yeah. Did it turn your sharing off?
No.
Okay. How come I can't see your sharing anymore? Can you see mine?
No, I can't see yours. I can see Mitchell's.
I don't understand. It does seem to, it says allow multiple people to share. So how is it not working then? It literally says that. Multiple participants can share simultaneously. That's annoying. Okay. All right. I got an idea. Can you guys take a screenshot of Mitchell's code?
Let me scroll down.
No, right here, right where the error is. Yeah, the underlined error. See that little squiggly line? Take a screenshot of that little bit. You don't need to, Mitchell, because you have it. But everybody.
We have that too.
Oh, so you have the same errors. Okay,
Yeah,
never mind. Good.
we all have the
Great.
same
All right.
error,
Actually,
yeah.
this is going to be better. Go ahead and stop sharing, Mitchell.
Okay.
And I'm going to share my screen and see if this works now. Okay. Share. Okay. I want you to look at my code, that line, and your code, and tell me what's different.
Oh, you don't have the data path.
Yep. Yep. So that data path is only necessary if we had uploaded the way that they did from their GitHub. So make it look like mine, and let's see if we can fix it.
So what should we change?
Well, look at the difference. See what the difference is. Look at the line that's underlined in red. That's the first error, right? And look at my line for the same thing, and make yours look like mine.
Got it.
Great. You're going to have to do the same thing for the line under that, because it's also going to biff at you if you don't. Okay, Mitchell's yours running?
Yeah.
Great. I'll wait for you guys, Hannah and Maggie.
Python's definitely my favorite. I don't know
Okay.
why. I like this.
It's fun.
I understand. Well, so far, let me go ahead and like save myself.
far.
Knock on wood. Like this is
Yeah.
okay. I know what I'm doing.
And I just love Google Colab.
Got it.
Awesome. Who was that? That
I got it as well.
Oh, perfect. Okay, great. So now scroll down, because the first thing that should have been outputted is because I said print country stats. This is what's in that data frame, right? Notice it has the name of the country, it has the GDP per capita, it has like a little headers, and it has all the numbers, right? So the data frame is kind of like it's like a little spreadsheet on its own, right? So that's kind of nice. And so just wanted you to see what that data frame is. And that's the output of that defined country stats thing. It puts this together for us. Yeah? Make sense? All right, let's scroll back up to the code. All right. I'm going to not print this anymore because it just takes up room. So I'm going to comment it out. Go ahead and comment that out. Okay. Now, the first thing that I think you should see next is it says visualize the data. Is that the next thing you see? Yeah. So this is using a method of data frames. So data frames have a plot method that you can use. And I mean, it's fine. We're going to see a different way to do it. You guys already know about using the scatter plot plot on in Matplotlib, right? I'm going to show you a different way to plot as well. That's a little bit, should be really familiar to Mitchell because he knows MATLAB. But yeah, so this is one, you can use the data frame's own plot method, which is what they're using, but you don't have to. Okay. All right. So this makes the next thing down. I'm going to rerun this so that I don't have that data frame printout. And I'm going to go down. So the first thing that you'll see is the plot, right? where they told it to call the y-axis life satisfaction, call the x-axis GDP per capita, right? So the data frame it's kind of nice that it like has its own little plot thing and it'll plot stuff for you, right? Okay, that's cool. That was here, and it's telling you what data it wants where. That's nice. Let's go ahead. So the next thing that we just ran this, so everything got run. But right here is where it actually trains that linear model. It actually finds the best fit line here, right? That's what the call to sklearn.linear regression is, right? So sklearn is the big library. Inside is the sub-library linear model, and within that library is the method linear regression, right? And it says it's not actually running anything yet. It's just saying, I want linear regression. I don't want, I don't know, polynomial fit or something. Like I don't want this other method. I want to do a linear regression. So it says, just give me that model. That's what I want. And that's stored in model. And now you can tell model now, okay, now that I know that I want the linear regression as the model, you can tell it to fit X and fit using the data X, right, which is the GDP per capita, and Y, which is the life satisfaction. And then that it's actually going to do the fitting. Yeah. Okay. Well, class is almost over, and we're going to have to continue what we're doing right now in asynchronous mode starting this Sunday. Okay. And our goal here is to just get through this code and learn some stuff along the way. And then, and you can see it's almost done, right? We're almost done with this. And then the next thing we're going to be doing is starting chapter 2. Okay. Chapter 2 is pretty long, so we're going to chunk it up a little. We're going to start moving a little quicker just because, we want to get through some cool stuff, right? So, but chapter 2 is really neat because it's all about starting doing a project from beginning to end, so using real data. It's fun. So I'll also put the assignment to read chapter 2. Now, you don't have to go through all of that yourself. Just skim, read through if you can. Try to understand, pick up what you can, okay? If you want to start on the code, feel free, but, we're going to be going through that together. Okay? But the little end of this will be our first thing that we're going to do asynchronously. All right? So make sure you have that code that you just put on available in your collab. Everybody good?
Yep. I just had a quick question.
Yeah.
When do you think some of our grades will be updated?
Well, I just graded a bunch of the stuff today. The code itself, I haven't put the grades in, like the stuff you shared with me.
Okay.
So I would, I know you wanted to finish some stuff, so I probably won't do that till next week. So you can get everybody, make sure they finish everything.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sound good?
Yep.
I have a
Alright,
more
guys.
technical question about the code.
Yeah.
So when we uploaded the files and stuff, is it the similar file that we downloaded from the actual website? Like is the Excel file look like the entire
I would open it up and take a look.
Okay, well, but then if it did, how does it know that we want this specific column and this specific?
Yeah, so that is in most likely if it does look like that, and I haven't actually looked at it, so I could easily look at it. Yeah, but that's probably here, right? In country stats, prepare country stats. It's figuring out the right thing. So we could just open it up. Right? Let's see, it takes my computer a million years to open CSV files, but I can, I'll look at the OECD and I'll just, I don't know, you probably can't see this, but yeah, it looks like.
But it's still pretty complicated.
Yeah, so that prepare data is that prepare country stats is the one that's extracting what it wants out of there first.
That's cool. Okay.
Yeah. Now in real life, what you would do most likely is you would download the data, then you would by hand most of the time, because it can be a real hassle to try to make it do it automatically like they did. Right. You might just cut and paste the data into another spreadsheet so it's a nicer format. I do that all the time, but but it can be a pain. So the processing of data to get it into your computer, into your code correctly is often hard.
I got you.
Just
I appreciate you explaining it to me. I was just like, how the heck did
No
it
problem.
get in there and figure out what it needed?
Yeah.
But I understand that now. That's awesome.
All right, cool. All right.
Thank you.
All right, bye, everybody.